thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone, for episode 273 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing, recorded live from western, northeast, South Dakota. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy, the land of Grassonomics, Tanner.
Grassonomics. It is official at this point, is it not?
Grassonomics is now a thing.
Grassonomics is a thing.
We were playing the long game, building an audience off of Massenomics for years.
All so we could finally switch over to Grassonomics.
Yep.
And we did it.
It worked just like we talked about.
And it was successful, I hope, right?
Smash hit. I mean, we're talking about our future selves, but I got to assume.
I assume we'll be listening to this on Monday along with everyone else and be like, yep, we nailed it, didn't we?
We did.
So we did have our new drop that
we didn't talk about last week at all.
No,
until the very end.
No, so we had the Grassonomics,
which I'm proudly displaying here.
Greetings from the high plains on the white tee. Grassonomics, a Massenomics joint.
We got Mount Rushmore with some fat clouds blowing out of them, spelling the words high plains in the smoke. We got a buffalo. We got a pheasant. We got a biker smoking while he's riding.
Yep.
And it says greetings from the high plains. It's a beautiful shirt, Tanner.
It is a great shirt. And it is on the white tee. And you were pretty happy with the white tee, weren't you?
This is the first Massenomics white tee we've had a few white tees.
Yeah, we've done the
lift. I've never got them just because they were all for shirts I mostly already had, and I didn't need another one.
Right.
You got to draw the line somewhere.
That's
right,
true.
Tanner, when we have all these new releases.
You do have to draw the line. Otherwise, each of us would have 100 shirts.
We would.
Yeah.
So, I guess I drew the line at white shirts, and this is my first one. I was like, damn, these are better than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, good shirt.
Great shirt.
We had that one. We had the 8-bit Party Time. So we've had the 8-bit series around for a little while. We had 8-bit Powerlifting, 8-bit Strongman, 8-bit Highland Games, and those were all a part of our 8-bit Strength series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we just transitioned over or also included our
Live Easy series.
Yes. So that's a subtle piece of the shirt. If you look close on the other ones, they're all, I don't know what you call those on the top.
The little icon,
yeah. Is now a Live Easy series on the 8-bit Party Time, which also a very cool shirt.
It is
on the black tee.
That's one of those where when you see it in person, it really gets you. I only look at it on the computer screen for so long, then they finally arrive at your doorstep.
It's like, oh, this really is a shirt now.
Yep, it is real.
And then the other new shirt in the drop was the Massenomics varsity tee in the red, on the red tee with the big
arched Massenomics across the front. And it's classy.
It is classy.
It's one of those timeless pieces for us.
It is a classic piece. And then the other piece of the new drop.
The wild card.
Yeah, the wild card.
The limited edition thing that everyone was so... We had conspiracy theories going around on what this is.
Yes, there's a lot of speculations. I don't think anybody knew outside of our very deep inner circle of what was coming, and it was the Jonathan Oldham Bacon and Beer Bells Air Oldham
Dunk Flag.
Yeah.
The mashup no one knew they needed.
Yeah. Yes. And that one is limited to what we produced for this release, so maybe those are all sold out by now.
They're gone.
They're gone.
So now that we kind of hit you with our ads, we should probably hit you with one of our advertisers' ads.
Let me tell you about some of our advertisements for today. Today's show is brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Familiar? Good.
Am I?
You're about to even be more familiar because Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the 60s, the late 60s, and began powerlifting in the middle 70s. At that time, he was working for Image Barbell building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe to begin addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believes was the greatest bar he had ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling, and it was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international High plains and world powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more, visit them at texaspowerbars.com. Tammy, I'll also be happy to report that my meet this weekend, they did officially put out there that we're benching, we're squatting on a Texas squat bar. We're benching on a Texas power bar, and we're deadlifting on a Texas deadlift bar. The perfect
trifecta
trio of Texas power bar bars.
You said, "Oh no, I don't know how to use those bars." Wait, I got every one of them.
We have them all. And
said, "Are they red though? Because that does make a difference."
No, sear coat in the U.S. I've read through quite a bit of the USPA rule book. Sear coat finishes are not allowed.
Not allowed.
In competition. Also, we are competing out of a Go Strong HD combo rack. There again, I say, Go Strong HD combo rack. Already know my exact
home
pin
field
numbers.
advantage. You said, does it glow in the dark? Because if it doesn't, I'm a little impartial to it.
The warm up room is 3 Go Strong racks.
Really?
Yeah.
Who has all these?
It's Alberto. Is it?
Oh yeah.
Is it Albert or he runs squat to depth apparel? Yeah. I got to say that right because I would feel stupid. It's Albert. I added the O. The O is silent and doesn't exist. It's just Albert. Albert Alvarado is his name.
There's an O at the end of his last name.
Yeah, that's where I got confused. I was putting it in the wrong place. Albert runs squat to depth apparel, and he puts on this Black Hills Classic meet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
also, like in the USPA rulebook, the warm-up, the weights and bars in the warm-up room, there's restrictions on it. They cannot put bumper plates in there. Almost like they have to use like the comparable bars and stuff, which I think is good because sometimes you go in the warm-up room and it's like, oh,
this
like,
is not the same.
Your brother talked about doing a USAPL meet in North Dakota where the warm-up room was on Olympic bars, so a different diameter. And bumper plates.
Really?
That's all the warm-up room was. And then
How do heavy deadlifters even get to go?
Right.
I mean, if you're deadlifting, if your opener's around 600, like
it's going to feel way different in the warm-up room.
And also, and
then you go out in the 29
how many
millimeter
bumpers?
stiff bar.
Isn't the limit on bumpers around 600-ish?
Yeah.
Like
probably
5 or 6 plates?
It depends on the kind of bumpers, but if
true, I guess
thick,
it does. It does depend on the ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
So that was my note on Texas Power Bars. That's what I was talking about, right? Kind of.
Very cool.
We got a lot of stuff to cover this week, Tommy.
We do.
A lot of
just
stuff.
Not enough time.
We've got a ton of stuff to open, too.
I'm looking at that fat
there's
stack.
There's sacks aplenty.
Our segment of our ongoing series of listen to Tanner and Tommy open
Let's just
things
do
on
one
it.
right now because we got a lot to do. This is section 1 of Tanner's sack. And this is kind of a follow-up to the last 2 weeks now, Tommy. Last week we had cock sauce.
Oh, what?
This week,
more sauces.
We have Uncle Gary's mustard twang handcrafted barbecue sauce. And Uncle Gary's dry rub. And this you can buy on Grant's website. Right? Yeah, the Strength Co.
Okay.
The cock sauce is not to be bought on the Strength Co. That is through the Cock Sauce's website. I had that wrong. That's actually a correction from last
mustard
week.
Twang. Wow. Yeah. Okay, I do love mustard.
That's a very looks to be a mustardy based barbecue.
It does appear to be very mustardy based. I'm holding it up right now.
And also his dry.
I do like the label. The label's very cool.
Yep.
Oh yeah, let me see that dry.
Would you say it's cool beans or?
This is very cool beans. In kind of an old school cool kind of way.
Yeah.
Damn. Uncle Gary's barbecue recipes dry rub.
So you'll have to try that and see what your opinion is on that barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the rules. I told you this in the gym one day, Tanner. Someone sent me a DM, and I should give this person credit for what they educated me on here. It was boy, this was just long enough ago that it's going to be hard to find it. Not there. Boy, okay, this is going to get really boring. Either way, someone educated me on the rules of barbecue sauce in the Carolinas. I believe they said Eastern North Carolina is more vinegar-based. Western North Carolina is more of your tomato-based. And this person said the heathens in South Carolina go with mustard.
Okay.
So here we are. Going full circle.
Straight from the heathens.
Straight from the heathens themselves.
Yes.
The depths of South Carolina.
Yes. Did you see that World's Strongest Man went on this week?
I did. I actually caught just a little bit of it on TV too.
It was on TV?
I saw some of it on TV.
Oh, I didn't know that any of it's aired already. Okay.
I saw Luke Richardson in the future. He was running.
Wasn't the future this year.
He was not the future this year. And who was he running against? Either way, it was really weird. I'd never seen it happen. The first thing they do is they pick up it was one of those one of those medleys. They're picking up like
those giant barrels and anvils.
Yeah. So the first one they pick it up like the anvil and they set it on like the platform when they're running.
Yeah.
And the way he threw it down, he takes off around, kind of throws it down, and the anvil got caught on his belt, popped it open, and his belt flew off right before the yoke. Yeah. So he had to go run, grab his belt off the ground, put it back on.
That's bad luck.
It was it was a weird thing. Like you don't see that happen.
But he did get hurt.
He did, yes.
He did get hurt, and he was out for. So the future has to wait at least one more year for
the
sure.
Future will stay in the future.
Yet, yes.
But Tom Stoltman won, though.
Tom Stoltman won. I'm not particularly surprised about it. I
don't think anyone should be really that surprised.
Brian Shaw got a very close. It came down to who was going to. They had the stone off with the two guys.
I saw before that was going on where it was at, and I'm thinking, like, the 1 year I told Tanner, don't. Yeah. You've said Brian Shaw enough years, and it's burned you. And then, he had a great.
Yes, Tom won. Brian very close to winning. Got a close second. Tom, I guess, was just a little better. Honest, like Brian had a great year, in my opinion. Tom was just is tough.
That's probably one of those things. Having youth on your side probably doesn't hurt either.
And drawing come down. It's funny. It comes down to the stones too, because Brian formerly the best at stones. Yes. Tom
currently the best,
and probably the best ever at stones now. So it's like, well, Brian has like the perfect wrong guy that he has to go beat at stones at the end to win it.
Yeah, there's not many people that he would not want to line up against, and
then Maxime Boudreau from Canada got third. The two other Bobby Thompson and Trey Mitchell both made the finals, so I really like to see that they were both in there. Luke Richardson made the finals, and Luke Stoltman made the finals.
You meant to say Luke Stoltman, right? Or
Luke Stoltman made the finals. Yes, I said Richardson the first time.
Okay,
yeah. And I like the Stoltmans. They're
really cool.
We got to figure out a way to get either or both of them on the podcast sometime, like to get that Scottish
that'd be fun
thing. The one other comment I would make about it is sometimes I get thrown. I'm actually two things. People that say Brian Shaw needs to retire. The dude just got second and barely not first. And like, just hang it up, man. I'm like, if he wants to do it, keep going. Like,
if you're having a performance like that, I guess it shows like, hey, like if because he was like, you could look at his placings, having a tough time the last 3 or 4 years.
But he still made the finals every year. He was still like the top 10 best in the world.
Yep.
So it's like, if he enjoys it, like, why would you why is
especially
it like,
after a year like this, you got to think like that's got to be really refreshing,
right? Yeah.
Or I should say, motivating.
I think he's still disappointed because it would have been huge if he would have finally got the fifth. He may have actually retired after if he would have got it here, but now I'm assume he won't. But just where people are like, oh, come on, dude, just retire. I'm like, I don't know. Like,
you're competing at the highest level still. Right. Like competing, not just being there. You're competing.
And the other thing that sometimes throws me off, and I know I've mentioned this before, take something like the Olympics. And Olympics is the extreme. People cheer if I'm trying to think of an example of someone from another country that's very popular.
Usain Bolt's probably
Usain Bolt is the one, and I suppose this goes against my theory that people generally cheer for the people that
are of their country,
their
country.
Team. Usain Bolt may be the one anomaly like there, where
the closest
it seems
you get to being universally loved.
I'm like, I don't know if the 100-meter dash this year. I don't know who the best United States representative is, but say they're going up, and it's like a coin toss of who's going to win between who and Usain Bolt. I want the USA guy to win. I'm like,
pretty much every time.
Yeah, like that's just kind of what
only like Usain Bolt. He's just so like, you can't not like the guy.
Like that's Usain Bolt is kind of
he's having too much fun and he's so positive. It's like that's where you draw the exception. But almost every other time, it's like, no, I don't want that guy.
Usain Bolt is kind of the hole in my point.
But
here.
You're talking about like the one out of how many athletes?
But I guess what I'm getting at is it's always kind of like how little people like.
In World's Strongest Man, country seems to
and I guess Brian Shaw is a little bit polarizing in a way that some people really like him. Maybe some people just don't like him so much. But the way that so many U.S. people like actively cheer against Brian. Like, I don't want Brian Shaw to win his, it's like, it's like, really? He's like the USA guy and like still the best.
He's on our team though.
Right. I'm like, why do we want the Scottish and the British and the Canadian guys to beat him so bad? Like, to me, I'm like, I kind of want the USA guy to win. Whether you're a giant Brian Shaw fan or not, I'm like, but I guess I do kind of, I have a good respect for him, so maybe it's different, but I don't know. I find myself wanting the USA guys to win, but that doesn't appear to be very common in strongman.
I know, and it's
at least not for the US. I think the UK people, they all want the UK people to win so damn bad.
Pretty much every other country wants their guy to win, and no one else.
Right.
Yeah, it is weird how that goes. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, where it's like there's probably just as many USA people cheering for Tom Stoltman as there were Brian Shaw.
Probably, and maybe it's just because the pool of athletes is so much smaller.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe if they made it really obvious, like this guy has an American flag. This guy's shirt is a giant American flag.
The
like
back of the shirt. Like it even is, but it's just
I don't know why that is. I don't.
And I don't even know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but to me it's a weird thing. Like it's
it's like the one time I feel like where people aren't on in America, at least on their countryside.
Yeah. It's like the more extreme example of this is when we go to the Arnold and Mark Henry calls out cheer for our troops, and he's talking about Mikhail Shivlyakov, a Russian.
Yeah, he's like, served in the Russian army. It's like,
let's hear it for our troops.
It's like, but
whose troops?
Like, I don't know what the Russian army does, but isn't there a lot of things where maybe that they're like trying to actively not be on America's side?
Well, isn't Russia historically one of the countries that we
were in a Cold War with them for like 40 years.
Not that long ago.
And some people said that never actually ended. Too.
Right. I'm like, and that's like probably someone probably told him after that, probably that doesn't
that's
make
the
a lot
wrong
of
time to use that. Yeah, no, I know that is the funniest one.
Yeah,
because he did it every year we'd go to. You'd hear it every single time,
and it's like, and I get like he does seem really cool, and Mikhail Shivlyakov, like I like to see him do well and stuff too, but there is a certain point where I'm like, are we cheering for the Russian troops here? Like
you said, I did not go to Kuwait to cheer for this.
It's like, let's hear it for the Taliban. And I was like,
Tanner, that's when you make your political stand finally. You say, Mark Henry, that's it. I'm shutting it down.
It just does seem a little like, I just always wondered if someone afterwards was like, that doesn't, that maybe isn't. That's not the correct use of what you're saying.
Guy over at Massenomics was in the National Guard and was very upset by what you said.
He was deeply offended. Was there anything else you noticed from World's Strongest Man?
I didn't get enough time.
In California.
I didn't get enough time to really watch a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Rogue all over everything.
There was some Massenomics shirts in the crowd.
There was some Massenomics shirts in the crowd. Yeah. There was some fans, which is cool too.
Yes.
Still isn't a huge spectacle by any means yet.
It was still limited though, because that's California had, they had literally, this was like, a lot of people said this was like the first event in the state almost.
It still would be really cool if it is in America again next year, if it was like a major spectator.
It's supposed to be in Sacramento.
Cool. Next year it is too?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So that would be cool if they could somehow figure out how to make it a fun, entertaining major spectator thing. Whether that's doable or not, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it was. It would be fun to go and weasel our way. Big Travis would be the other note. Big Travis Travis Ortmeyer, friend of the podcast, did not make the finals. He had a hamstring tear, so I think he probably didn't do as well as he wanted to. But he, I don't know, he's back there competing after like a 10-year hiatus, so that's pretty awesome.
That is,
and I think he's planning on being back again next year. And Terry Holland's retired too.
Yes, that was also noteworthy there.
Yeah, Big Terry.
He's got quite the career.
Yeah, he's a good guy too.
Tanner, we have to read an ad here.
All right.
Do you want to guess who it's by?
Is it the Strength Co? Or is it SPUD Inc?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Today's show is brought to you by SPUD Inc. and the Fat Tricep Strap. The thickest strap handle we've ever made, the SPUD Inc. Fat Tricep Strap is designed to build your forearms and make your everyday exercises like pull-ups, face pulls, and push-downs excruciating. And because it's built from a nearly indestructible nylon webbing, this strap will last a lot longer than your grip ever will. Check out the SPUD Inc. Fat Tricep Strap online at spud-inc-straps.com.
Awesome.
That's like their shortest description for any product
Yeah,
they have.
yeah.
They usually have very large descriptions. It almost threw me off how short it was.
I think for the sake of time, the big box, the big part of the sack, maybe we'll wait for after our guest for that. But I do have.
Oh, that is a big box you have there. I'm not sure what that even is, Tanner.
That one we'll maybe save for a little later here. But this, we ran the competition on Instagram of who had the what did we call that competition? It was I don't know how we phrased that.
So I gotta look. I haven't seen this thing.
It was
The Posterize Me Contest.
Yeah, the Posterize Me Contest, I guess, where in the comments you had to describe how you picture yourself before a big lift, and whichever comment got the most number of likes. We were working with Andy, Big Andy at Skinny Idiot Studios, and he was going to make your vision come to life. And in only the way that Andy can.
And in this case, he brought corn-fed Highlanders dream to life here.
Big Eddie.
And should I read the caption?
Yeah, you can read the caption.
So
this was the winning submission.
When prompted for how he likes to picture himself before a big lift, he says, "I like to imagine myself as the monster in any given Power Rangers episode. The Rangers have just beat me up, and the witch throws down her staff and yells, 'Make my monster grow.' Then the gym is filled with smoke, dust, and debris, and I rise larger and stronger than ever." And this is really good. There's so many details here. I'm just taking it all in. Yeah, isn't it Rita Repulsa? Did you ever watch the Power Rangers when you were a little, Tanner?
A little bit.
Dude,
I was not into the Power Rangers, but it was certainly around.
For sure, youngest memories in my entire life. Earliest memories ever.
Yeah.
I can remember I was a little kid watching Power Rangers. I remember seeing it on TV for the first time, thinking in my little kid brain, it's the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And they have their, God, it's been so long since I've seen Power Rangers. Is their Zords? What do they have there? I don't remember. They transform, do their whole thing.
Right.
And then they have like their big machines.
You're thinking
that come.
of Transformers.
Well, no. They
all
machines.
Go together to form like a mega thing or something.
Yeah, they have their little machines that come out.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember.
Dude, I remember getting
well.
done with that and going outside, and I had a trike. I remember riding my trike because that was the most comparable. Dude, I had to have been like 3. Like for real. Yeah. This has to be one of my earliest memories of my life, and Power Rangers somehow got that. So
you know what sticks out to Power Rangers to me is like, I don't think kids do this in school anymore, but you used to dress up for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a year, kindergarten through 5th grade, that at least a few kids in my class didn't dress up as a Power Ranger.
Word to Power Ranger, yeah.
And probably the red one.
That did, the red one. It did make me feel cool growing up that kind of the edgy Power Ranger was Tommy,
Tommy, yeah.
He was was he the Green Ranger and then the white one? And then the white one eventually.
White, yeah.
And I do remember the Power Ranger movie coming out. I probably would have been, I don't know, 3rd or 4th grade, and that was pretty bomb at the time.
So how's Andy's
it's good. It's good. So I can hold this up. I don't know how much of this you can actually see.
That's Big Eddie up at the top
there.
there.
Big Eddie up at the top. I believe it's Rita Repulsa saying, "Make my monster grow." You got some different of the Power Rangers down here. You got the Massenomics, kind of like flag burning in the debris with all this other stuff. You got all types of gym debris, or all types of rock and debris going on. It's a really cool scene.
Yeah.
It's great.
So we're going to send this to him. I guess I'm going to have to roll it up in a tube. So, Eddie, this will be on the way relatively soon once I figure that out. Actually,
once you figure out how to ship stuff in the mail.
Maybe I'll ship it in an old Texas Power Bars tube. It'd be way overkill.
That'd be good.
Okay. So that was that. I'm wondering, do we need to get Big Mike on the horn soon? Or
we got about... Well, technically, Tanner, we got about 6 minutes until we normally get there. But should we do a can quick? We should stay refreshed while we're.
Gee golly willikers.
This is a what's in the can. This is also, I know what the flavor is, but this is a what's in the can for me too, Tanner. I don't know. I've never had this.
Oh, I can smell it. Is it a cherry Coke?
I'm feeling cherry Coke. I did have multiple people on Instagram tell me that this is one of the flavors we've been missing.
Okay.
So I can't single out one specific person because over the last month I have had many people say, why haven't you guys done this one yet? So are we ready, Tanner?
I donned my functional and aesthetically pleasing blindfold.
Aesthetically pleasing it is. There you are.
Is it upside down?
Nope.
I
nope.
found that oftentimes I put this upside down.
Nope. It is all directionally
I'm trying to
good.
decide for the powerlifting meet when and I'll be able to wear the headband, when the good times for that will be.
Is there a bad time?
Oh, this has a smell. Well, it just depends on what I do with my hair. The headband is less necessary if I put it in a ponytail.
Right. I think you'll get this, Tanner. I feel like you could. Maybe I just know too much.
It doesn't smell fruity. What is that flavor? I do.
It is a flavor, isn't it?
Yeah. Gosh, I'm gonna know this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's not a fruity flavor to me.
Not in the traditional sense, no.
Damn it! What is that?
It's not a vegetable either, though, Tanner. If that's like, it's not celery. If that's what you're worried
dang
about.
it! It's like a very familiar flavor.
You're
And
gonna
it's
know.
a very, very distinct flavor too.
Uh-huh.
Let me think. Let me take one more sip here, and then I guess I'll just have to wager.
I can give you a clue if you need a clue.
And I don't even know that I love this flavor, but I recognize it for sure.
I'm with you on all of those.
You better give me a clue because I feel I'm maybe ashamed by
lots of sprays and lotions are scented this
now.
flavor.
Is it coconut?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay,
That's the one.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't.
it
I'm
kind
not
of
in
feels
love
like
with it.
drinking suntan lotion a little bit, doesn't it?
I'm not a huge coconut fan.
Coconut's really like about as coconut as I get is coconut shrimp.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
like when I have that once every 3 years, that's like my limit there.
So this is a coconut LaCroix.
Coconut LaCroix.
Yeah, of course. I'm stupid for not just knowing that without a hint, but because it obviously tastes like coconut, very coconutty.
It has to be one of their strongest flavors, doesn't it?
For a LaCroix, this is very strong. That's true. Good point. Don't like it very
I'm not
well.
completely confident I'll be able to drink this whole thing.
It is not.
Kind of a lingering taste in there.
It's almost like a thick taste.
Yeah, there's something a little extra at the end. It
Coconut-
doesn't leave you with that crisp, refreshing high note.
I don't like coconut flavored stuff though.
No.
I think they taste like shit.
I just think it
coconut
tastes like
stuff.
lotion.
Yeah.
Like around here, coconuts don't exist. So your exposure to coconut around here is in lotions and sprays.
What's the very coconutty flavored? Like, is a pina colada? Is that?
Yeah,
like,
kind of like that. Yeah. And I don't like pina coladas either.
More like pina colada.
If you like pina coladas, don't like them. Song ends there. That's as far as we get there.
something flip flops. Is that Jimmy Buffett or?
And getting caught in the rain. Is that Jimmy Buffett?
I don't think it is.
I don't
but
know.
it
No,
should
that can't be him.
Yeah.
That's God, we got to find out now. If you like pina coladas.
Oh, tastes bad. It is cold.
Escape by Rupert Holmes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, if you're not into yoga and have half a brain,
And it's by who?
Rupert Holmes.
And it's called what?
Escape.
I'm sure everyone listening right now is like, "Oh yeah, of course."
Come
that's who it's by."
on, everyone knows that.
And it's like,
Yeah, classic.
I feel like that was put out in the 70s.
It's got that vibe, doesn't it?
I'm gonna say like 75. I don't know. 72, 71.
I think you're wrong.
69.
Actually, it's
Maybe 60s.
according to this, it's 79.
79. Okay.
Just caught the 70s
Okay.
before the 80s took over and before big hair took over, Tanner.
Yeah. Well, coconut sucks.
Yeah,
It's
this
not good
gets
flavoring.
whoa.
I give this like a 2.
Yeah, I was bouncing between a 1.5 and a
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Props to LaCroix for making something pretty flavorful, but bad choice on this one.
There's people that like this flavor though.
I know. I don't know why people like it.
I
though.
put it in our
Also,
cart.
the coconutty flavor is very artificial tasting.
Yeah,
to
it
me.
always does. It
Yeah.
always does. I put it in the cart. My wife goes, "Why are you getting that? We're not going to drink it." And I said, "I have
People
to do
insisted.
it. I have to do it. It's what the
Yeah.
people want." She goes, "Well, it's all yours." I said,
Well, here's 2
It
of them.
is all mine.
Here's 2 of them.
All right, we should do one more ad quick, huh?
Okay. Do you want to do it to him?
I'll do it. I'll do it to him. I'll do it to him. Today's show is brought to you by The Strength Co. The Strength Co. operates starting strength affiliate gyms out of Southern California. They have a staff of experienced starting strength coaches that know the best way to develop strength through the barbell movements. Grant, the owner of The Strength Co., is a Marine, and he is passionate about obtaining quality American products and labor for all aspects of his business. The Strength Co. makes premium, made in America, barbell equipment, including their machined and E-coated plates. Also have some mustard on their site too, in case you're
Uncle Harry's.
In case you're inclined to go into Flavor Town. Their plates are functional, easy to handle, accurate, and made to last a lifetime. The Strength Co. plates have become the go-to choice for all members at Massenomics Gym. Check out their plates and all their other made-in-America equipment online at thestrengthco.com. That's thestrengthco.com.
But that is barbecue sauce, not mustard, correct?
I mean, I think it's barbecue. It's a mustard. Yeah, mustard. It says barbecue sauce, but yeah, it's a mustard flavored barbecue sauce.
Okay.
I guess
Looks
we're
thinner.
splitting hairs there. Yeah. It's more saucy. A little more saucy than your standard mustard.
Saucy sweat.
God, I'm getting a pretty bomb collection of sauces in my fridge right now.
Instead of talking about barbecue sauces, I wish you would have talked about $100 bills that you like, or like,
I'm really starting to
gold
look at
bars.
I've really started to have an appreciation for gold bars, and just gold bars started showing up.
Various
throughout.
sizes,
years,
purities, and,
conditions.
Really super into those right now. So
alloys. Just
send us some of yours.
I've gotten really into precious metals, really in general, Tanner. It's like
gemstones.
Yeah. Diamonds.
I'm really into diamonds, especially like large, clear.
Just jewelry in general. I'm collecting, selling.
Should we try to get our guest on the horn?
I think we should.
I'm hoping he answers, but I'm not guaranteeing anything.
Has he been maintaining radio silence?
He has been maintaining radio silence, but I've got faith in Mike. I guess it wouldn't be the first time we couldn't get a hold of someone, would it?
Wouldn't be the first. Sure, it won't
Probably
be the last.
It's all about batting the averages over here. Fingers crossed. I don't have a high level of confidence right now.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
You can't trick us, Big Mike. We know that's you.
My plan is to troll you guys this whole podcast.
well, we're gonna have a little competition to troll each other harder then. We are excited to have you on, though, Mike. This is Tanner talking, and then Tommy's right here too.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, good to talk with you guys.
Mike, we like it that you it's a funny thought to us that you're kind of aware of Massenomics on the internet and stuff, because like all we do is silly nonsense, and then you're kind of like the
opposite.
You're the super knowledgeable intellectual guy, and it's like, and it's almost opposites, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I have carefully cultivated a reputation of never having any fun. So,
it's taken a lifetime to ensure that that's the case.
I know, one podcast that's ruined. That's okay.
Would you say that that's a common misconception, that people that you're more fun than what people might give you credit for?
I don't know about fun, but so Liz used to be surprised at how much I swear. So somehow I've cultivated this reputation of being like really straight-laced and polite all the time. Which, I mean, hey, politeness is nice, but I don't know. Sometimes just gotta use the F word. You know,
you could almost put that on a shirt. Politeness is nice. Just one of those really obvious sayings.
Politeness is nice. RTS.
Right. Hey, we're only profound shirts only, right?
Yeah. Mike, I made up a joke earlier today, and I wanted to try it out on you. What does a pirate call a physical education program in school?
Oh, I don't know.
RPE.
Dang, Tanner, coming through with the bangers over here.
How do you think it played?
Hey, I should have seen that coming.
Yeah. So RPE, rate of perceived exertion, is that the correct? What would you? Are you the godfather of RPE in powerlifting?
So they tell me. I guess I was probably the first one to use it in the way that we commonly think of it now. I mean, I think people use kind of versions of it, less formalized versions of it before. You know, like the idea of leaving a rep in the tank is not, is not new. It's definitely not something that I came up with. I think the idea of, that being a gradient is, at least to my knowledge, something that I came up with. I didn't personally hear about people using kind of a reps in reserve model to regulate training loads, before I started talking about it, which would have been like 2005 or something like that.
Do you get like a royalty then every time someone says RPE on Instagram or uses it in a program that's not yours?
Actually, they're all mine. So if you use RPE in a program, then it's mine, and the athlete who's using it is my athlete too. So I coach everyone.
Well, you say coach everyone, and that seems kind of true now at this point. Like RPE is very widely used now. It's kind of crazy. It
almost feels more unusual to see someone not using RPE in some way than it does to see them using it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Is there a difference in what is the difference between RPE and reps in reserve? To you, what's the difference there?
So in most normal cases that you've encountered in powerlifting, there's not much of a difference. But there's a few edge cases, and then especially if you go outside of, kind of repetition-based barbell stuff, then the differences are more noticeable. So clearly, like if you're doing a farmer's walk, there's no such thing as a rep in reserve. If you're doing weightlifting, the concept of reps in reserve doesn't make a lot of sense. So like those are things that we're always familiar with, but even in more of a powerlifting, bodybuilding sense, if you're doing multiple sets with short rest intervals, to me it starts to break down a little bit, like the reps in reserve matching up with RPE quite the same way doesn't make as much sense. So like imagine that you've got like 80% on the bar and you're doing triples with short rest intervals. So for most people, everybody's a little different on 80% stuff, but for most people, 80% triples is going to be like your first set's going to be like 5 reps in reserve or something like that. So really low RPE, but as the sets go on, you may not feel like the RPE goes up that much, but that fatigue as it sets in, like your reps in reserve would start to drop, and kind of the parity between say a 7 RPE and 3 reps in reserve starts to break down. Like it can feel like a 7 RPE. The bar speed might read 7 RPE, but if you were to continue, the fatigue just hits really fast, and so you might actually have like 1 or 2 reps in reserve. So
right.
There is a little bit of a breakdown that happens, but it's kind of more on some of these edge cases.
That's interesting. I understand that.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, I was not aware of that before. To me, I always just pictured them almost as the identical thought process, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in most normal cases, they're pretty much the same, and I don't know that the difference is like so stark that we need to have internet arguments over which one is better. Although
we might need to do that.
Yeah.
What about, so if we could agree that in the case of powerlifting, a lot of times those two ideas are comparable, but what about people that are continuing to train in fashions that don't use RPE or maybe some auto-regulation principles in them? Is that a mistake in your opinion?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, if there's like one thread that runs through my whole coaching career, it's individual differences. And I mean, every time I look, I spot them, that most people do respond more or less average, but nobody responds entirely average. And those differences matter if we're trying to make an ideal training program. Like, look, if this just isn't that important to you, then you're probably not listening to the podcast about it. But, by all means, like, just do whatever, whatever, stock non-auto-regulated program. Like, it just doesn't matter at that point. But if this is something that you care about, then conceivably you want the most return on your effort. And at that point, I think it's worth putting the effort into an auto-regulated program.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
When you first, when did you first learn about or start utilizing RPE either for yourself personally or when you were coaching someone? And when you did come across it or did you know right away that immediately this makes total sense, everyone should be utilizing this? Or was it a progression of you learning that throughout your own lifting career?
It was kind of a light bulb moment for me. Like, this would have been 2005 or so. I was coaching my Air Force Academy team. So, I don't know, I had a dozen or so lifters that I was coaching at the time. I was all in person. And, I mean, I was obsessed with training stuff. I mean, I still am, but, that's all I could focus my attention on was like reading everything I could get my hands on, reading from lifters and reading, the books that, everybody recommended that you read, right? So I remember hearing lifters talk about like leaving a rep in the tank. And, this was kind of a landmark concept, oddly enough. I think people were familiar enough with it, for the competition lifts, but in particular, like with assistance exercises with your bodybuilding work and stuff like that. Like, hey guys, you don't actually have to take every set to absolute failure. Like, oh, really? Man, like, what a crazy idea.
Yeah.
And so, like, this was, like, they were talking about it, like, hey, leave a rep in the tank. And, it's not that much different to your training volume, but your recovery will be a lot better and so on. So I've been reading some kind of conversations online about that idea. And this was also in the era when whenever you would ask somebody, hey, what book should I read about if I want to learn about powerlifting training? Everybody would say, oh, you got to read Super Training.
Mm-hmm. So when you say 2000, when we're saying like 2005, where are you asking online?
Let's see, what was big in the powerlifting world then? Elite FTS was a big one. Yeah, they were one of the ones who would like talk about training and like be open about it in terms of seeking out the answer. I mean, they have their perspective, the suppositions that they're starting from, but everything else, maybe not everything else, but much of the rest of the stuff that I was encountering was like, here's the workout of the month in Powerlifting USA. There just wasn't a whole lot of conversation about the theory, So, Louis' articles in Powerlifting USA and Elite FTS and gosh, there were some other places. I guess T Nation was big back then. I'm sure there was other stuff as well. Dr. Squat's forums. That was
Never heard of that one.
Is that Fred Hatfield or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it's like his forum or
Yeah,
if it's just you know.
No.
Okay.
Look, man, I'm out of touch at this point. Like, I don't know what's reasonable and what's not. But
Yeah.
Fred Hatfield ran drsquat.com
Okay.
and
No, I don't even know about the
I've never
website.
heard of that.
No,
I've never heard
no.
anyone talk about that before.
No, man, it was awesome. There were tons of smart people who were there too, and you know, the man himself was there, and you could ask him questions.
Yeah.
And you know, I remember picking his brain several times, which was pretty cool. And then, so this goes even further back, I think, but Super Training used to have an email list. Do you guys even know what an email list is?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we do have to have those ourselves.
We got
even.
one of our own
Yeah,
here. You know,
No. I don't mean like the email list, like where somebody sends out like a broadcast to an untold group of people. I mean, this was like
the ones where you can see
everybody's
everyone
on-
on the list.
Oh yeah, and you would have like these ongoing conversations just via email.
No, I can
With
not say I've
huge
ever
numbers
been a
of
part
people.
of that.
Yeah, that concept sounds really scary now.
Yeah, like it's not a scalable idea. But there were those things floating around as well. So yeah, so that's kind of the information environment.
Yeah. So, Mike, we've gotten the opportunity to interview a lot of people and a lot of very intelligent lifters and coaches. You know, we got to talk to you. We've interviewed Greg Knuckles, Bryce Lewis, Chad Wesley Smith, Dave Tate, and like the list of coaches and everything would go on. And it's not normal for us, or it's very normal for us to listen to people talk and know they have a superior intelligence. They know a lot more about the subject than we
Tanner,
do.
we don't have to listen to them talk to know that. We just
Right, we already know that. We already know
that.
that. I'm wondering, is there anyone in particular that comes to mind that you've sat and discussed training with and other things and really felt, wow, this person knows a lot more about it than I do? Like, does that come up for you?
Yeah. Dietmar Wolf is like that. He's one of the people that when I see him doing things that like I wouldn't necessarily do, my first thought isn't like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. My first thought is like, I need to find out why that's like, why is this a good idea? You know? And I haven't found a thing yet where there's, you know, not something behind it. And so he's a good one. Lately, I've been talking to Robert Frederick. Not a lot, but from time to time, and he's got some unique ideas in the space. But he's also probably flies under the radar for most people. Let's see who else is a go-to. Jacob Sipkin is a good friend of mine. He's another one that probably most people don't know. And
You're naming a lot of names that
yeah, these are new for me.
That are new for us.
see, I like. Look, if there are plenty of smart people, right? Like, you know, I've talked to Dave Tate since I was like a sophomore in high school. You know, and I've been super fortunate to pick a lot of people's brains on a lot of topics. And of the people who you're familiar with, who like post things online and stuff like that, and I guess maybe this just kind of shows my orientation a little bit that, you know, okay, I know what you're getting at, kind of know, like, Mike Israetel is a good example.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's got a lot of really interesting stuff to say, and he says it, you know, and if you're like, I wonder what Mike Israetel thinks about training, you can find that answer, right? There are lots of smart people who aren't quite so present online.
Right.
And
right.
I enjoy picking those brains too.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ones that are coming to, you know, Mike Rizzatel, you say that name, of course we know it and know a lot of what he does and he's up to because he's present online heavily.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's good too, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, man, like, where do you want to narrow the conversation to? You know, like that. Like, if we want to talk about like competition strategy and attempt selection and stuff like that, Matt Gary is a huge influence on me. And you know, something else that we do. I'm fortunate at this point in my career that we've got a team of coaches that all work for RTS, and each week we have a tactics meeting where we get together and talk about problem cases that we've got. You know, hey, I've got a client and I just can't quite figure out this problem, and so we put our heads together and kind of put experience together and try to collectively come up with stuff. We talk about things that we're each reading as well, and that has been really useful for, you know, really for the ongoing development of everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially with all that experience in the room at the same time.
Yeah, I mean that's something that's, well, I mean, that's why we're having the conversation, right? Like, we know that kind of continuing to try to get better is important. So finding some places to seek that out. Yeah.
Right. To change gears a little bit, is Tuchscherer the correct pronunciation of your last name?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. We need to talk about it.
Yeah. How often do you come across someone that has their last name spelled the same as you?
The same. Not very often. Although where you guys are at, I think it's more common.
Well, see, I went to
Minnesota, North Dakota.
Yeah,
South Dakota.
I knew people in high school that their name was spelt the exact same as yours, but they said it Tuchscherer.
Tuchscherer.
Yep, that is how they said it.
Interesting.
And I'm familiar with some that have the same name, but just they dropped the last ER.
That extra one.
Yeah. The second ER doesn't exist. But so I want to talk about it. Your name has 5 consonants in a row. That seems abnormal.
You just got to break it into different syllables.
I
think that's oversimplifying it, though.
It doesn't feel like that. Also, the double ER at the end throws me off.
Yeah. Well, good.
How often do people get, growing up, like, I don't know what.
Where did you grow up even?
Yeah.
I grew up in Indiana. And
okay.
Let me beat you to it because I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So growing up, I would run into people, occasionally, I spelled my name. How do you spell that? And I spell it for them, and they look at it and go, oh my God, how long did that take you to learn that in school? I'm like, not very long. It's 11 letters. You can do this. I was 13 by the time I could spell my name. My goodness.
I know how to spell yours now, just from us preparing for this podcast.
It was
talking about it. I actually
rigorous study,
and I won't forget it now either. I think I've got it down pat,
yeah.
And I think that's probably more than a lot of people can say.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I try to get people's names right, but at the same time, it's like, man, if I was going to get upset every time somebody got my name wrong, then.
Well, that's why it's easier just to call you Big Mike.
Yeah, Mike T. It goes a long way as well. But hey, whatever works.
Yes. You just got USAPL Nationals just got over. I assume you were coaching some people there.
Yeah, it was a really good trip.
What do you think is harder to do when it's weird? Like, the answer to this seems obvious, and maybe it is the obvious answer, but I think there's some nuance to it. What's easier to win, USAPL Nationals or IPF Worlds? Generally speaking, if you could generalize it.
I have to stand by IPF Worlds.
Okay. And to me, that's probably the obvious answer, but I wondered if you looked at it that way or not.
So, just a little additional context. There is kind of this segment of American lifters who likes to say that winning U.S. Nationals is more difficult than winning IPF Worlds. And
right.
Like, strictly by the numbers, there's a few weight classes that are like that. but I don't think that represents the totality of everything. And then also, like, I think if we're going to talk about competitiveness, we can't just look at the number one position, or not even the number one and number two. You know, that you have to assess like the competitiveness of the entire field. And I mean, there are definitely some battles that happen at U.S. Nationals, and some of them are comparable to what you would see at an IPF World stage. But man, it's every single weight class at Worlds. It's like every time there's a battle, and even if it's not like first to second, it's like a battle between third, fourth, and fifth to see who can get on the podium. And it's like, well, if she pulls her last deadlift, then she wins a podium spot, and if she misses, then she's going to be sixth. You know, I mean, it's some high stakes lifting that's going on there, and I think on the whole, you just can't beat it. There's some additional like things hoops to jump through too, like with travel, and that's an easy one to discount. It's easy to be like, oh well, you know, people have to travel to nationals, or people have, you know, travel. Whoop-de-doo. But until you experience it, I don't quite know how to describe it. You know, the people often see pretty significant performance differences going that far, whether it's time zone related or the strictness of the judging and stuff like that. I mean, it's just different.
Yeah. I guess you kind of convinced me. I was on the fence. I had heard some arguments the other way, and I kind of agree with you now, I think.
Yeah, I believe that. Just the travel alone, I think you're right. Like, if you've ever been on any long flights
like
where you are changing a lot of time zones, oh, your world feels different in a hurry.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any lifter or lifters in particular that you haven't coached that you would really love the opportunity to coach, or if you think if you were able to coach him, you could really take him to another level?
That's a tough question, you know, like you get me in trouble with that question.
Well, maybe you could take off the last part of it where I say that you feel like you can take it into the next level. If there's just anyone that you think would be really fun to coach, and we'll just assume you also mean that second part.
Oh man, no, I mean, after all that build-up, I mean, I don't have great answers either. But, you know, like I really enjoy coaching high caliber lifters, of course, but you know, even lifters that are, you know, competitive at you know, a national or regional level, you know, things like that, taking lifters to Masters World Championships, or I think it's just fun. Like the competitive aspect of it is fun, and kind of get, after such a long year there, where I managed to, every podcast you have to talk about like how long last year was. So I got that reference worked in there for you guys. So you're welcome.
With everything going on.
Yeah, with everything going on, that's the key. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So we'll just say it without saying it, right?
Yes.
But in seriousness though, like going to nationals last weekend was like, oh man, I remember how fun the sport side of this is. You know, it's like for a year we didn't really get to indulge that, but you know, now hopefully it's starting to come back, and more places will start to come back. You know, fingers crossed. And I mean, it's just it's fun to look at it that way. You know, to
yeah,
you know, to try to place higher than you thought you would. You know, indulge in a little strategy, and when it comes time for deadlifts and things like that. I mean, that's something that is not present, you know, in your day-to-day training life.
Yeah, we just talked to Bryce Lewis a couple weeks ago, and we got to dive into that, you know, that attempt selection talk, like especially at like the national stage, and really he kind of said the same thing, just how exciting and the different levels that are involved in it when you're competing at somewhere like Raw Nationals.
Yeah, it really does make it feel more like a sport.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what the same thing we said then too.
Having a guy that can do some numbers actually matters now.
Yeah, it actually matters.
Crunching numbers.
Well, I'll tell you, if you don't mind, I'll tell you a quick story about nationals.
We would love a story about nationals.
Yeah, so I was coaching Ryan Stills, who's a M1 in the 120s, and Dennis Cornelius is also an M1, but he's not intending to go to Masters Worlds. So Ryan expected that he would total enough to earn that spot, and he should total enough to do that fairly easily. We're thinking like on all of his openers should be more than enough to get him qualified. So training had gone well. He was set up for some personal bests. He makes his first 2 squats, but then on his third squat, he feels something pop in his leg, and I missed it. Feels like he may have torn a quad, like high up near his hip, or maybe an IT band, something along those lines. So now all the careful planning that we had done before this goes out the window. So it was neat to me. On one hand, it was neat to me to see like how quickly we were able to adjust and kind of build a plan on the fly. So, before it's time to bench, well, how much can you bench without leg drive? I was able to, since he had kept his training log on our website, I was able to look that up and, okay, so I got a decent target for building his warm-ups and trying to time his warm-ups appropriately and everything. So we get out there and he makes 3 benches. They were conservative. Again, he has no leg drive, but it was good. It was the right number for him to put on the bar considering the circumstances. And then deadlift is kind of this moment of truth, right? Like, man, torn quad or whatever it is it going to cooperate enough with us to deadlift? How much can you deadlift? We have no idea. So we just start warming up, just start pulling things and generally see how things are going. And if you're not familiar with like how competitions work, at least at that level, you would normally have all your warm-ups written down and where you're opening in your flight, and you would time it. You time all your warm-ups so that you get into the flow of the competition. You have a normal amount of rest so that you're warmed up but also rested, and you're kind of in the zone in terms of the competition pacing. Well, we have none of that because we have no idea how many warm-ups he's going to take, or if he's going to be able to pull at all, or what his opener should be. So we're just kind of feeling it out as we go. And he was able to pull 220 kilos in the warm-up room. And I said, okay, well, so far it hasn't gotten any worse as the load has gone up. So we went ahead and put in 240 for his opening deadlift. And we said, okay, well, I think we can do at least that. And he needed 290 to earn his national team spot. And we found out what was totaled in the earlier session and everything, so we knew what we needed to do. We needed 290. So he goes out for his opener and lifts it, and it's fine. Again, it hurts, but it's not getting any worse. So then we call for 290 on his second, and he pulls that as well. Pretty much the same. It looks like it's okay. Hurts, but not getting any worse. Now, at this point, I thought, all right, we've accomplished our goal. He's, earned his team spot. We're going to hang it up. And I'm kind of congratulating him a little bit. And after he comes off after that second pull, and he says, what do you think we ought to do for a third? I'm like, a third? Why would we take a third deadlift right now? and he's like, well, why not? I'm here. I'm doing fine. And like, it's been forever since I've competed, not deadlifted 700 pounds. So we went ahead and called for it and put it on the bar. And then he went out for his third and he pulled that too. And talking to him afterwards was illuminating, because, you know, I'm asking him, like, why did we do that, essentially? And he says, you know, look, I don't know. You never know when that might be your last attempt. What if that's your last deadlift attempt and you let it time out? You know, like, hey, I'm here. I'm holding together all right. Let's give it a shot. Now, I tell that story, and there's a number of different caveats you have to put in place before that becomes a device.
No, I just heard you go for
Max out whenever you
everything
can.
on the third, no matter what.
I know, right? But like, it's not getting any worse with load.
Yeah.
It's not an injury that's directly, like, I mean, look, it's a quad, but he's stiff legging these deadlifts. He's not really putting it under a lot of strain. We're also talking about a master's lifter. You know, I think my calculus would have been a little bit different if, you know, he was 25 or something.
Right.
But I have to respect the attitude, though. You know, and I was telling him that, like, that gets the juices flowing a little bit. Just old school blood and guts powerlifting. Put it on the bar and let me lift it. You know, so there's a time to be smart and make the smart move, and that's most of the time. But sometimes you've just got to have a little dumb meathead and just lift weights. So, yeah, that's my story about nationals.
And that's why you choose RTS for all your powerlifting coaching needs.
Right.
Mike, we've got this little game we like to play with everyone we have on the show. It's overrated, underrated, and we have a special set of Mike T topics, special handpicked for you. The most important thing to remember is you can't ride the line. You have to end up with either an overrated or underrated at the end of the question. But you do have your druthers to elaborate as little or as much as you would like. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right. Topic number 1, overrated or underrated, the F-16 fighter.
Ooh, underrated. How did you pick that? Like, where does
Well, we know
you guys have a team of researchers or something?
We do. The team consists of Tanner and Tommy.
And all of our interns.
Yes, and all of our unpaid interns. And we did a little digging.
Use that lift shorts money.
Yes, we have to put it to use somehow. It's just otherwise just sitting here.
Yeah.
So you do have an opinion on the F-16 fighter, though.
Yeah, man, that's a badass fighter jet. So when we lived in Aviano, they flew F-16s out of that base, and I don't know, man, it's just fun watching fighter jets. I don't get tired of it. You know, I would try to find reasons to be on base when they would be taking off or landing, and I don't know, it's just awesome.
Is the F-16 the most popular jet ever?
I have not a clue.
Like, what's a more like, to me, that's, if you said name one, I'd say F-16, and then they'd say name a second, I'd say I don't have a second.
Okay. Could you pick it out of the lineup though?
It's the one that looks like the fighter jet.
Yeah. Not out of lineup of fighter jets.
I guess I should say it's not a B-52.
Right,
I know that much, but
well, you are from South Dakota, so you would know
that's
B-52s and B-1s. So.
Yes. Has your Air Force time made you familiar with Ellsworth Air Force Base at all? Have you ever been there?
I've never been there.
Okay.
But
what'd they just get the contract for? What's the new? They got the contract for the new plane out there, or whatever it is.
I don't know.
It's supposed to be like 20,000 people moving there or something. It's supposed to be crazy.
Wow.
I would think Mike should know out of the three of us.
I saw it on the news last week, but I wasn't paying close enough attention. I didn't see F-16, so I quit paying attention, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. If you thought that was a doozy, just wait till we get to some of these others. Okay. Next one, though, a little bit back to normal a little bit. Overrated or underrated front squats?
Definitely underrated. And I'll fight folks on that one.
We see you doing them quite often and for a long period. And consistently over a long period of time, it seems like.
Yeah. So for me, it's a way to work around injury. Well, it started out as a way to work around injury and then has become an obsession. But
Like what injury would you be working around with front squats?
so, long story short, I had a pain in my hip that turned out to respond mostly to like shearing loads. So think of anything that puts you in a forward lean position.
Mm-hmm.
So low bar back squats, deadlifts, good mornings, stuff like that would irritate it. But I seem to be able to handle compression just fine.
Mm-hmm.
So in a front squat, you have to stay very upright or else you drop the bar. So front squats, I could do as much as heavy as I wanted, and it didn't bother anything.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
How about subcategory? How about utilizing the straps on the barbell for front squats?
Yeah, that one's. I think mileage tends to vary a little bit. Some people get something out of it, and some people just find it really awkward. But I mean, for me, I had tried it a few times before. It was a matter of having the right straps. So I needed something that would like grip the bar and not slide around too much. So like I had a pair of old Iron Mind straps. Those didn't work so well. But when I used the daisy chains, those were great.
Okay.
You know, so if you got something that's like super broken in, that might help you a little bit more. Yeah, I think I find myself, I would think of it like I have a better understanding of front squats now than I used to. I used to not program them very much. And I still can see where people don't see the utility because it's a different movement. Like you would think like front squat, it should be pretty much like any other squat, but the mechanics of it are different. And it takes a little while to get proficient in the front squat, but once you're proficient, I find that it's a really good way to train back muscles without beating you up. You know, there's definitely some leg stimulus that's coming into play too, but I've had more correlation between front squats and deadlifts than I have between front squats and back squats. So lots of times if I've got a lifter who can't tolerate frequent deadlifting, I'll have them do front squats because we end up training a lot of the same muscles in a lot of the same ways, but it doesn't beat them up as much.
Good. Overrated or underrated 3D printers?
Ooh, definitely underrated. Definitely underrated. Like people think like 3D printers are like, you know, $3,000 or something like that. No, the very first one that I bought was $300.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, they're way more accessible than you think. And you might think, well, I don't know anything about engineering. There's a website called Thingiverse, and it's like I don't even know the analogy to make, but it's a search engine for 3D models. So you can search for a stand for your iPhone, and there's thousands of them on there. And you find the one that you want, and you download it for free, and you send it to your 3D printer, and your 3D printer makes it. And now you have something where there used to be nothing. That's pretty amazing.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, like I mean, I was making when I first got it. My wife was the one who initially was kind of advocating, and I was like, "What are we going to use this for?" And she's like, "Well, you know, keeping up with technology. It's in all the schools now, so it's good for the kids." Okay, all right, fine. And we get it, and you know, at first I'm like, "Well, I guess can make a toy for the kids or something." But it's like a smartphone in that it has all these capabilities, and the more you use it, the more uses you see for it. You know, I mean, there's a free CAD program. See, I'm going to go on and on about 3D printers. So you didn't know. But,
well, you have
there's
your
a free CAD program called Tinkercad, and I think it's like for school children, but I use it. Like you just drag shapes, and you can put shapes together, and you know you can take it kind of as far as you want. But you know, like at the point where you start thinking like, it would be nice if I had a little plastic thingamajig to hold this in place, or to keep that, from falling down or anything like that. Then it really kind of changes your perspective on some of this stuff.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me when you said you just went on, just download this phone holder. Like back in the day,
Yeah.
I remember on movie previews to like show anti-privacy, there'd be someone like downloading a movie, and then the comparison they'd make is you wouldn't download a car, like to show you shouldn't do it. Like, with,
now you can
with 3D
almost,
printing,
yeah.
maybe I would download a car.
I mean, I've downloaded toy cars. Does that count?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Myth
Prove
busted.
Yeah.
them wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It is pretty cool, man. I
Yeah.
have to say.
I think so. I think we agree with that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Last topic, and a lot of times, Mike, we like to, when we can, we incorporate something food related into overrated, underrated, and talking about a research team, we put them to the test to do a full research across your Instagram, and we could find one post where you had something food related. First question, do you have any clue what that would be, what food that would be that we could find on your Instagram?
I think so.
Okay, what is it?
It would have to be some kind of meat
Oh,
steak. Or
no, well, I guess we missed that then.
We could've- yeah,
and I'll
oh
even
my
say
God.
this was the very first food thing you ever
Yeah.
posted on Instagram. So
very first food thing.
I don't think you'll, I have to assume you're not going to know it. So
Okay, yeah.
overrated or underrated, peanut brittle.
Peanut brittle. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, underrated. You gotta go with underrated. Candy in general, I mean, you might think, hey,
Is that
candy's already
candy?
what popular.
Peanut brittle's kind of in that in-between zone, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you could have it for meals.
Like you could eat it for breakfast and it wouldn't be
I
that
think
weird.
Peanut brittle's that kind of candy where you go to like your great grandmother's house when you're little and she tells you it's candy and you're like, this is not candy. This is nuts. And,
Like when you're trick-or-treating, they give you pennies and it's kind of like, well, I
This
guess
is
it's
not-
better than nothing.
I also don't know that peanut brittle is rated all that high.
Doesn't have much of a rating to overcome.
No.
Yeah, there you go, right? But
Okay.
I would file it under candy. It seems like candy to me.
Yeah.
And I would also say all candy is underrated.
Well, but if we think of like candy as like a gradient, like RPE, like it's definitely on
RPE 1.
like compared
On
to
the candy scale.
compared to let's say sour Skittles,
like
it's,
a 9.
It's on a different end of that scale.
That is true. I'll give you that.
Yes. There. I think it's best whenever in doubt to refer everything back to an RPE scale.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. There have been lots. The applications are endless.
Do you going through life, do you catch yourself thinking in terms of RPE? Like say you just got done going to the bathroom, you've been plugged up for a bit and you're like, that was a 10.
For me, not as much as other people, but other people do this and then message me about it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Mike, what do you? Here's the video, Mike. What do you rate this?
but yeah, form check me. Right?
Good. That was the last topic, and good news, you passed overrated, underrated. So great
Awesome.
news there. I had one last question for you. I'm doing my this weekend. I'm competing in a powerlifting meet. It's the first.
Are
one
you
I've-
asking Mike for your temp selections right now?
No, not that, but close. This is my first meet that I've competed in probably like 4 years or somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's been a long time. Without you knowing almost anything about me and nothing about my training or strength levels or anything like that, could you please give me one piece of advice that will help me in this meet, and preferably something that will help add like 50 pounds to my total?
Get really mad.
It's a simple ask.
Yeah, that's
Gosh. I guess it would just be to have a plan that includes good timing for your warm-ups.
okay.
that's something that, like you said, I know almost nothing about it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
something that I see a surprising number of people getting wrong at lots of different levels is just really not getting that right, just winging it or anything like that.
So what way do you feel like people get it wrong? Are they going too early or are they waiting too late for warm-ups?
I think usually waiting too late and having your warm-ups be rushed
Right.
is more of an issue.
I feel like I've experienced that
things
personally.
like-
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, people think like, oh, well, in the gym, I warm up. It takes me 10 minutes. I'll wait until the other flight is, doing their second or third attempts, and then I'll get started. Well, it's going to be hard to find a rack. It's going to be hard to get the right weight loaded. And everything is going to take longer. And usually you're not warming up for a 1RM. So give yourself more time than you think you need.
Right. Oh, well, that's perfect. If I'll let you know, like if it panned out for me or not, then your advice.
Yeah, like 50-pound PR, yes, no.
All right, great, Mike. I think that's kind of a lot of what we wanted to talk to you about today. I know people can find you on your Instagram, I'm sure, of course, or what's the RTS website if people want to get a hold of you and find out more about coaching.
It's reactivetrainingsystems.com. And I'll just throw out there something that we have on the website is a free training log application. So anybody can get on there and log their training for free. And we've got a lot of tools built into it that are specifically designed to help you put the right weight on the bar and lift it the right number of times, which is all any training program aspires to do.
Very cool.
I like that. Probably a good idea not including your last name in the website URLs.
The considerations.
Good for domain availability, bad for spelling.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Mike. We really appreciate having you on. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, it's good chatting with you guys. Thanks.
All right, we appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh,
Hit him with the double cool beans.
hit him with the
didn't
double
you?
cool beans.
Big Mike. Big Mike T.
That was fun.
That was good. That was really fun, I think. We threw him for a loop with the F-16 fighter jets.
Really got him going on that one.
Oh, I meant to tell him he's free to use my pirate joke anytime he wants to, too.
You have to send him a message
Yeah.
afterwards. Be like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel awkward asking, so I'm just going to extend the olive branch.
What did you think of that joke?
That was pretty good.
I made that up today when I was thinking of things we're going to talk about.
Yep, that's good.
RP.
Are you sure this wasn't like an elaborate ploy to tell him that joke after years? You thought of it years ago and you've just been scheming to get it in front of him?
Like, how can I finally use this joke that fits into nothing else ever?
Yeah.
Like,
I also did really like being polite is nice.
Yeah. I feel like that could be a Mike T-shirt. Being polite is nice. We should almost make that as a mock meme.
I find that very relatable in this part of the country.
Yes. Yes. Truth. Tommy, we did have one more piece of the sack.
We
to
do.
get to.
The sack keeps rolling.
The sack keeps rolling. Before I do that, I think I'll read our one final ad for today, just because I fear forgetting it at this point in the stage. I do
would
not want to
fear
do
too.
that. Today's episode was brought to you by Fusion Sports Performance Supplements. Tommy, do you know what's in your supplements?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you use Fusion Sport Performance, you always will. Fusion SP prides itself on being fully transparent, never using proprietary blends, and always providing its customers with top quality products. Biggest thing to remember here on Fusion Sports Performance Supplements is they still have the 30% off going everything on the site if you use our discount code. The code is MASS, M-A-S-S, in all caps, and that'll save you an enormous 30, not 20%, Tommy, 30% off everything in your order. They also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. They have...
30 is kind of the number here, Tanner.
Yeah, 30. That's really like if you...
and just for people, so they didn't break out the calculators, if you spend 100, that would mean you would get 30. That'd be $70 total.
Yeah.
That's.
I'd like to see Mike Tuchscherer do that kind of math on the fly. Old smarty pants over there. Yeah, that's $30 off.
Just like that.
That would be an RPE 3.
It would be.
30% off. But really, that's like an RPE 10 discount code.
That
I think
is.
getting 30% off is like an RPE 9 discount code, I would call it.
I would too.
That's a pretty strong discount code. But we did want to get back to our sack and very cool. I think what's in here is going to be very cool.
You're really getting me quite curious right now, Tanner. Especially because the sack is such a large box.
All the way from guess the country, Tommy.
Oh, okay. Can I get what hemisphere?
Our neighbors to the
Canada?
south.
Oh, south.
Yes, Canada.
Oh, okay. yeah. I forget that. Yeah.
Yes.
There is a.
Okay. So I don't know what's in here.
You don't either, huh?
This is unwrapped. I mean, I know who it's from because I did read this card here, and maybe you want to read this card.
Okay. I always like reading the cards, Tanner.
Yes.
Dearest Tanner and Tommy, with COVID restrictions easing up, entertaining guests may be back on the table. You will now, no doubt, be the talk of Western Northeast South Dakota with these. Please enjoy. P.S. I could not risk sending mystery cans due to the extreme heat. Hopefully this fall we can do a Canadian can. P.S.S. Is it P.S.S. or P.P.S.? What's the proper term there, Tanner?
Postscript.
Okay.
Not postscript.
Okay. Well, maybe it's different in Canada, though.
Down there they do things different.
You will
toilets also flush the opposite direction.
You will understand. They go up out of the water. It goes up
They
out
go
of the bowl.
into their butts in Canada.
You will understand why they are labeled for each of you after you open them and hold them up to the camera. What?
All right. And did it say who it's from? I mean,
no, I'm Kyle.
yeah, it's from Big Kyle. Big Kyle Hendricks, our Massenomics athlete and longtime Massenomics
This is starting to feel
supporter.
like Christmas because these are wrapped and our names on them.
And just a little detective work. I know what Kyle does. He does really cool woodworking stuff. He's an arbor.
Yes.
And I feel like this is going to
And
be
he
really
didn't-
cool.
he didn't grow a
and it's
tree
been,
in this
I've
case.
really been wanting to know what's in this.
Yeah.
And
Well, how
I'm
long have you
excited
had
about
this?
it. It's less than a week because
Okay,
it came in.
okay.
But I just, like, damn it, I want to see.
All right. Are we doing this?
Yeah, this is like Christmas right here. Christmas in June.
Oh. Wow.
Whoa, look at that Massenomics ingredient.
Yeah.
But why did he say you'll know which one is for?
Wait a minute.
It's because it would go right here.
Right?
Right.
Right.
But what is that?
Well, does
a can fit
this fit there?
Oh, wow.
Just the tip.
So that's why this one is for me and that one's for you because it has it on our
the correct hands.
hand. This thing's really cool.
Yeah. So this is our new work table, Tanner. So
this is really cool.
okay, so this has been terrible audio. Okay, so we have these really, really well finished boards. Do we know what these are made out of, Tanner? What type of wood this is?
It is for sure wood.
Definitely a wood that came from a tree of some kind.
Kyle, I'm going to tell you, you need to start telling us that because we don't know the kinds of woods like you do.
Yeah. So it's finished very nicely.
Yeah.
The Massenomics logo is...
That's killer.
Okay, I cannot, in my brain, get the difference between debossed and embossed. You could just say this is laser etched.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, we got the Massenomics M laser etched in the lower corner of this thing. And then in the upper corner, for me, it's the upper right corner because that's on the screen, the center of the screen. And for Tanner, it's in the upper left-hand corner, a little can holder for our cans.
Have you ever had like something with this, like that like kind of holds your can like that?
No, not on the bottom part you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, no, I haven't. It's like just a step up from it being loose. Like,
right.
Like
it's kind
there.
of it's like, yeah.
Like you can't go wild.
Like you could shake it around. It's not
But
really
it's
going to move.
there.
Yeah.
And
That's
so what
kind
we're
of
talking about is, on
They
all
must
cans,
do that in Canada.
Yeah, in all cans, they have that bottom kind of lip of the aluminum before it gets to the wide part. Just that bottom little part, that bottom taper is all that fits in here.
And look at this.
Oh.
And you can put your barbecue sauce on
this
there.
table, you can put phones and barbecue sauces. It's like a display.
I could put my
It's like,
my ad.
is that a
favorite?
man or a table? I can't tell.
It's like I got my phone right here so I can tell if our guest is texting me and saying, I can't do it tonight.
This card is holding up right here too. It's just incredible.
Oh, Man.
On top of this, they have that great rich wood smell to them too.
They do.
Wow.
I guess these have to stay here then, don't they?
Well, I'm not one to tell you what to do, Tanner, but
my wife
also,
was
though,
hoping this was like
you could also though put the barbecue sauce in upside down, and then it's really locked.
Well, that's what you do when the barbecue sauce is getting kind of empty.
Yeah.
To keep it all.
Keep it all at the bottom. For you. Awesome.
Good job, Kyle.
Kyle, you did it, man.
He almost deserves a cool beans for that one, I think.
Almost deserves.
Cool beans.
The double.
Hit him with the double cool beans.
That is pretty cool.
Wow, that's really cool. So, okay, I see there's more in this box though, Tanner.
That's just paper.
Oh, it is just paper. Okay, okay.
Like these were like separated in there and like had layers of paper. I think
they were packed smartly.
I got them prepared for us, I think.
Okay. The logo is etched in. God, did I? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I sent Kyle the logo. I was gonna say, did you send this to him, Tanner?
No. I always refer people.
I know.
Even though
we send the logo. It seems like we're sending the logo off enough on a weekly basis now that I forget who is even getting it now. I do get surprised when things have it on it correctly.
Really cool. Really cool beans. Yeah. What a good sack week again.
Great sack week. I'll hold these up again just in case we didn't make it obvious enough for people to.
Mine's on my lap.
See what we got going on there, but
so I guess we could bust this out every week when it's time for what's in the can.
It's gonna make it tough when we start jumping up and down in excitement, though.
Like it's a 5, JD Power Associates.
It's gonna send stuff flying.
No, it's locked into this little spot. It cannot fall out of here. You could turn this upside down, and
I'm just realizing I'm still drinking this damn coconut.
Yeah, it tastes bad.
How far did you finish yours? Or not?
No, I have like probably 2 ounces left. And I don't think I can finish it.
That's where I'm at too. I have just a little bit, and it's making me realize that I don't want anymore.
Oh.
Glad it took me that long.
What is it on The Office when it's the energy drink that like the guys win the lottery or whatever, and the one guy makes an energy drink? It's like coconut. It's like penis coconut penis.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, so with Robert California.
Oh yeah, I
and at the very end he's drinking it, and he goes, "Oh, they could have stuck with their original and left the coconut out," like saying he liked just the penis flavored one.
Yeah,
I think that's how it all went. Yeah, that's what it was. I'm sure of it. I'm 5% sure of it.
There you go. Tanner told us how the entire Office series ends.
And then Jim and Pam got married and divorced and stuff. The end.
The Office.
Catch the rest on Peacock. Because now you have to have Peacock to watch The Office.
Peacock.
Now you have to have another thing.
Yeah.
Where you click on it, it's like, does this ever come up? You know what I would be excited for sometime in our life? When I click on whatever streaming thing it is,
and it's just
whatever
there.
I click on, it's there instantly. When we get to that point in technology, I am going to love it because we are not there yet. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like I want to click on something on my smart TV or my Roku or whatever it is and have it just like, you know how on the internet now, when you click on something, it just comes up like almost right away. Like, in like 20 years ago, it's like, oh gosh, it's going to take a while, it's loading. And now things just kind of come up right away. I want that to happen on smart TVs.
Like are you saying like you found the thing you want and you click on it and you hit play, or like you're typing the thing in and
No, just when I click on it, I want it to, when I hit play, I want it to play that fast.
Does yours take a long time?
So, or yeah, if I click on all of our, like everything's like that. If I click on Netflix sometimes, and it's not a long time, but sometimes it'll take 5 seconds or 8 seconds to come up.
I want you were going to say like 30 seconds. I'm like, dude, there's something wrong with your internet.
I want it to be instant. I don't want it to be
like you're watching cable. You flip next channel and boom.
And it's on the next channel.
Yeah, that is the one thing. Like we have Hulu, and you don't really channel surf because like back in the day, if you were sitting in front of the TV with cable, you can literally go next channel, next channel.
It could be like 12 minutes until you get to something again.
Yeah, and now it's like you have to bring up the channel guide because you click on it and it goes buffer.
Yeah,
go. And then you look at it. Nope. All right. Buffer.
Yeah. Go to like the next page. And then there's like a buffer, or like you're watching something and you click home. You want to get just all the way back to start. And it's like, okay, it's there. Like that's how long it is. But like that, when you're listening there, it's like, did they stop talking? It's like, no, that's just
part of that could be on the device too. Like sometimes like the nicer devices have better like processors, so they'll load some of that stuff faster. But yeah, no, I do know. Like none of it is instantaneous. Though,
right. That's what I want. That's what. But like the internet, when I use my PC or my Mac, like
It goes.
yeah, I feel like the internet is very close to I don't click on something and go,
wait for it.
duh,
Yeah, I think that is the difference though between like for sure like smart TVs. In my experience, most smart TVs are so slow. Like
that's our like we have 3 different smart TVs. I think we have a couple LGs and maybe a cheaper one that's like a Vizio or something like that. None of like they're all slow.
Like because they put like the most garbage like little computer in them.
They're
That's
all
why,
slow.
Yeah, like I always have to put a Roku on
Right,
because
the Roku
I can't
is
take
better.
how shitty the built-in
Yeah.
ones are. Like it just
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
Yeah. Rant over.
Woo!
Do check out all of our new drop though. And I'm wearing a tank top. I forgot to wear one of our new things.
Yeah, I got the high planes on here.
We got the high
Grassonomics.
planes, the Grassonomics, the varsity tee, and the 8-bit party time, and the limited edition Air Oldham flag. And then also we still have a decent selection of tank tops remaining, but those are going to phase out, and we won't have tank tops again until next year. So get yourself a lift shit tank. There's a few kind of fit, kind of fat tanks, almost none.
Yeah, very.
A lift hard, live easy tank. There's some sizes, and then there's some don't curl in me tanks left. So grab yourself some of those. Everything else on our site. Like us on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Oh, is that kind of most of the stuff?
I think that's all
okay.
right.
Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can find me at Tanner_Bear. Just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.